All right, I think we're live. 1 second here. I need to change GRNQ from GRNW. What a silly mistake. All right, I think that's changed out. Good catch, Jimmy. And yeah, so if you see me measuring out trend lines and the percentage change just like this, it's this trend line right here. That's what I'm using. And if you right click, or no, if you use the scroll pad on your mouse, so this thing, and you just click it. Whoops, I clicked the middle thing. You just click the middle, then the tool drop down pops up. What is this thing called? Like a toolbox or something? There's some sort of name for it. All right, guys, let's get into it. Let's get started. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the live stream where we first review the watch list and then we trade the market open every day. Hope everyone had a good day or a good morning. Good start to the short week. A little bit of a red day for me yesterday, like $6 down. Not really too bad. We had kind of a nice little afternoon trade to the little kind of 15-minute EMA move. What was that? MTC. This was a pretty okay one. It just wasn't really that hot of an afternoon for some of these small caps either. And I was expecting a little bit more of a reversal that we just never got. So here you can see this is that 15-minute EMA move that sometimes I like to snag late morning or sometimes even in the afternoon. So MTC had a little pullback here. This was our first kind of, not really our first one. We had a couple attempts here to break over the EMA, but this is the first one after the volume really plateaued here. There wasn't a lot of selling. And then finally we had a little bit more spike in green momentum. I bought the dip there. I wanted this one to at least go back to 2.4 or even past VWAP, but we never got that. And when this 2.2 was very light on volume, I just closed out this position. So this was like a 5% win. But in the end of the day, it wasn't really anything too crazy. So yeah, kind of a slow yesterday for me. And it seems like small caps in general. Let's see. Let's quickly go over some more housekeeping here. It's 9:18 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So we got what, another 12 minutes till the market opens at 9:30. We wrap up trading between 10:30 and 11 and the stream. Check out the video description below for some FAQs and let's dive into it. Also on playback, today is May 27th. If anyone's wondering, and it's a Wednesday. You can also see the date right up here. But I heard, especially in the comments, that some of you guys really like when I say the dates and stuff because if you're watching this and you're driving and you can't watch the screen, then it helps the more I explain things. So that's good to know. So yeah, just know I read all the comments. I respond to all of them, but usually I need a few more, a day or two. To respond to all the comments. So on the gap scanner today, I mean, I'm not super blown away. At first, GRNQ, I was pretty excited, but then it started pulling back kind of aggressively. So we'll talk about that one in a second. First, let's quickly check out the SPY so we know what the overall market's doing. Sometimes I forget to do this, and I always notice it once the live stream starts because then I'm looking over here what the indexes are doing. But sometimes it's nice to already kind of set yourself up a little bit more. So let's go ahead and do that. So the SPY closed yesterday at 299.08, and since then we've kind of been trending to the upside, 99.08. That's somewhere over here in this area. So we're about 1.5% up. So it should be a nice little bit of a gap up day on the SPY. Nothing too absurd, but we should be opening greener. Remember, the SPY are the SPX futures. All right, so usually, I gotta say, when the market and the overall indexes are just slightly red, I tend to perform a little bit better in terms of trading small caps. Maybe because there's a little bit less attention on the large caps. I'm not really sure. All right, boom. Let's go here. Check out all the movers. We have Hertz, which filed for bankruptcy, and they pulled back 80% yesterday. So I think like 50% pre-market right here in this big old dip. and then another one all the way to 0.4 roughly. So this was a quite aggressive sell-off, over 80% sell-off. And you know what, kind of reminds me of a direct public offering on small caps, and then they tend to bounce quite nicely. So this bounce right here was a 220% bounce. And right now we're trending above VWAP, and it looks like we might break $1. So trading Hertz today might not be the worst idea. So we'll see if we go long Hertz. I'm not totally sure, but I do have it on my radar. It's not our classic small cap, but you know, after a dip this hard, technically it is a small cap. You know, south of 500 million, and shares outstanding definitely on the high end. I'm not totally sure what the float is, but I have to check that. Let me quickly check what the float is. It's always interesting, and always good to check too. HTZ, because we'll talk about what was this one? I think GRNQ, it says the shares outstanding are 54 million, but the float is 11 million. So that's a big old difference. For Hertz, it's not actually that big of a difference. The float is 141 million. So it's basically the same number. Yeah, just absolutely getting destroyed. So we'll see what kind of bounce this thing has. Let's keep on going here. HTBX, this one just popped up on the scanner. Looks like it was on the scanner this morning, then it fell off when it dipped below 20%. And you can see here on the 5-minute chart, now it's pulling back up again. Still kind of in close to $1 range, not always my favorite territory. Let's quickly check the long-term charts. We have traded this one in the past. Looks like it took a small scratch on that one, a little bit of a loss. Big resistance here at 0.11. But we ran past that area. You can see we broke past 0.11, but it was a bit more of a fake out. Now we're trying again for that round 2. Working with advised men, biomanufacturing, produce coronavirus vaccine candidate. So coronavirus vaccine candidate news, HTBX. A lot of shares outstanding on this one. I'm not super excited about it, but if we can break over maybe 1.2 nicely, and then we see we might have a nice little room to run to about 1.5 area, some bigger resistance in that area. So I have an alert here, although this will actually already get triggered. Just move this one a little bit higher. Just not really the biggest mover here, but let's go through some of the other lead gappers. I really want to focus on the, finding the best lead gapper. What is the #1 stock that everyone is probably looking at in the small cap world? GNC kind of pulling up here, sub $1. I don't really think this is, any lead stock that people are watching. Let's go to PHUN. This is a favorite probably among a lot of you guys, or you guys really don't like it. It's always one of the other. But it had some big support at about $1.20, 3 days pullback after that explosive, what was that, like 9 halts in a row that we had 4 trading days ago. And now we're back at 1.8. So kind of in this area, definitely some big resistance we'll be seeing here. And you can kind of see that resistance really coming in pretty strong already. Kind of an aggressive sell-off, not always the biggest fan of that much selling off, but technically it's only 19%. The interesting catalyst here, strategic relationship with American media company, and that's, I believe, working on the Trump-Pence 2020 campaign, if I read the news right from last time. So kind of an interesting little catalyst there. Gapping up 50%. I'm not really sure if that's, enough catalyst to really break through new highs. So I'm going to be probably a little bit careful with this one. But I think, buying PHUN maybe on a dip around 1.4, 1.5 could actually be quite a nice move. So I'll keep that in mind. GRNQ, another lead gapper here. 100%, 180% gapping up in the morning. So when I was looking at this ticker in the morning, I was like, okay, this is looking pretty hot. But then, we pulled back so aggressively here, about 35%. I don't like to see that. I don't like to see anything pulling back more than 30%. but it does have a nice float, 11 million, and they had a pretty decent catalyst. Acquire 18% of First Bullion Company, and then they came out with more catalysts today that they're acquiring Sapphire for 4 million. Here we go. So they do have some catalyst. I'm not really sure how strong this catalyst is going to be honest, but apparently enough to go 180%. So we'll see what happens. Definitely will have GRNQ on one of my trading screens. And then I was actually looking at SFET as well, but it did pull back quite a bit, which put it off my watch list. So I was looking at SFET somewhere in this area, but it pulled back so hard that it went off my gap scanner, and I don't think I'll be looking at it much anymore. It was only gapping up 35% anyway, but the 2 million float got me kind of excited, and they had good quarter one results, up 150% from 2019 quarter one. So it sounded pretty promising, but apparently not really enough to keep this thing alive. So I'm not sure. I think watching Hertz on one of my screens is what I'm going to be doing. And then on the main screen that you guys see, I'll be watching GRNQ, and I'll just be kind of watching the scanner, see if we have something else popping up. But those are probably my 2 picks for the day. Yeah, Hertz filed bankruptcy, Carmella, yep. Surprised it's bouncing so hard, to be honest. So out of the gates, I'm going to be watching GRNQ on this screen. Let's see, I'm going to put on my other screen, I got Hertz right here. Basically the same exact screen. All I do is I go ahead and detach it, nothing fancy, and then I just move it over to another screen. That way I have different shares ready to go and execute. If I wanted to trade GRNQ, I'd probably be looking for about 400 shares, maybe a little bit more. First trade, I always like to take a little bit smaller on my position size. Don't forget, since this is multiple decimal places on GRNQ, you can't just randomly place an order on an extended decimal place. So the easiest way to get into this one is just say join the bid and have auto send not selected, and then you can go ahead and edit your order if you want. It's not super quick, but sometimes it's the best way to do it. Actually, let's pull up ESEA. I see you guys talking about it as well. I was also looking at it, 40% gapper this morning, 2 million float. Greece Maritime Shipping Company, they beat estimates. That's the catalyst. This was actually kind of a nice little rip here. Boom, 50%, not too bad at all. Big resistance though, just keep that in mind on this one. $4.7. Definitely $4 as well. 3.2. Some interesting zones in this area for sure. So we'll see how this one performs. This could be a nice little gap and go here. See if we could break that 5 level area. I'm going to put an alert here. This could be quite a nice little move out of the gates. $20 more seconds to the bell. Has a big spread, ESEA. Keep that in mind. Let's see if GRNQ can get a nice little spike here, but it's weak. $177. Big volume on ESEA. I think it just got halted. Yep. ESEA got halted. I put a limit order out for it, but I missed it and instantly got halted. Woohoo! That was a big move. That was an 18% move on that one. I'm watching GRNQ, still watching Hertz as well. That was a quick little flitzer. Excellent flyer. GRNQ, watching this one closely. Maybe we'll get a red to green move on this one. Maybe it's just going to keep selling off, though. I'm not totally sure. Let's see if some news came out. No, not yet. Recovery. %, already pulling back here. Could be a good bounce spot. My alert just went off on ESEA. Still watching GRNQ for a potential red to green. I'm being extra cautious on GRNQ because it sold off quite a bit pre-market. Wasn't really able to hold its highs. We're trending under VWAP. All signs I'm not super big of a fan of. 15-minute EMA right above it as well. Yep, here it goes, pulling back again. This could be a bit of bounce here on GRNQ. Still watching. These are always a bit tricky. 4 minutes now into the market open. Not the biggest fan of GRNQ, I gotta say. Waiting for my scanner to update here. It's still taking a little bit of time. Sometimes TOS is a little bit slower. I feel like on any other stock GRNQ, besides GRNQ, I'd probably be taking this red to green move. Here we go. Finally working out. This is what we were waiting for. LK halted. Probably could be a failed red to green move right here. Just watching it. This could be a great entry though. It's annoying with these big volume here. That's nice. Just entered ESEA on my other screen. Bought the dip right here. Looking for a little bit of a continuation. Not getting it. Close this trade. Got a quick bounce on this one. Probably, this was a really small position size. Probably about 4 or 5% on this one. Was hoping for a quicker pullback on the open. Didn't get that quick pullback. Left the limit order there because I was thinking there's a good chance we're going to have that retest. But it pulled back a little bit stronger than I was expecting. Really what I wanted was that GRNQ dip here, but these are always really, really tricky with these extended stocks to get the kind of the price you want. Yeah, Corey, I feel you. Red to greens are sometimes tricky. The best thing to do if you don't feel comfortable with it, either, if you want to get better, trade with light position size. If you don't even want to, bother it, then just, kind of ignore them. And maybe at one point, something will click, but it's also something I don't always feel super comfortable with either. It was about 18 cents a share on ESEA. Not too bad. Not the worst trade. Could have been a little bit better. I'm not sure why scanner is not updating. That's a little bit annoying. HTZ, let's quickly check this one out. I think this one's having a red to green move as well. Oh yeah, HTZ absolutely popping here. Actually, let me show you guys this chart. So it looks like the perfect red to green move was on Hertz. That was a 30% red to green if you bought on the 08, and this thing instantly ran in just a few candles, 30%. So that was quite a big one. GRNQ. Let's see what happens with this one. I wouldn't be surprised if this one took a little bit longer, and then maybe in 10 minutes or 20 minutes, this one actually becomes a really, really interesting kind of a late bloomer. So let's see what happens with that. Everyone's wondering, I have only 200 to invest. That's totally fine. I mean, as long as you're paying zero commissions, you could trade 200. And if you can trade 200 over the next 3 months and at least not lose any money, maybe grow it 10, 20%, save up another 200 and all of a sudden you're trading with 400, work your way up. Because the worst thing you can do is, take that 200 and just lose it tomorrow. That's not fun either. So take it as education, just, get your feet wet. I really think Hertz might have another bit of an explosion here in a second. I think I actually have a little bit of Hertz on my IRA. I got to double check this. Guys, remember what happened to, what was the other company that fell off a cliff and then just absolutely exploded? It was like 100, 200%. Yep, looks like I got some shares here of Hertz on my IRA. It's actually kind of a bit of a loss. I was holding Hertz for several, for a little bit before the bankruptcy, selling into that spike there. Classic IRA account kind of holdings. Watching GRNQ. Hertz was halted again going up. Congrats to anyone going long on this one. Just absolutely killing it. So really, really sweet stuff on that, guys. LK is an interesting one. You know, LK would have been the perfect one to hold overnight, and let's just talk about why. And again, I don't like these high areas. I find that stocks have a really hard time breaking through them, especially on an extended move. LK breaks higher here, and remember we were talking about a gun pattern. You have kind of the handle, you have the trigger finger hole, and then you have the barrel right here. So this is what I typically call a gun pattern. It's my favorite thing to see if I'm swing trading overnight. Really holding the highs well, ideally above VWAP. This one's a little bit more shaky, but you know, it's up so much. Into extended hours, holds its highs, and then pops up here 27%, so not too bad. Either taking your profits pre-market. I would always like to take profits before any larger resistance. So if you check here on the bottom right, there's a the daily chart, and at around $3 we had some tops and bottoms on candles, and I find those are always key support and resistance areas. So here pre-market we touched this area, try to break out, got rejected, try to break out again, got rejected, and then here's the little bottom bounce right here. South is wondering why Hertz, people are trading Hertz, and it's probably just because a lot of either, you know, dip buyers, you know, thinking you can get some nice momentum out of it, which is true. Got a lot of attention right now, so people are trying to buy dips. I mean, this thing, you know, it bounced 200% yesterday. You know, put $1,000 in that, and all of a sudden you have 3,000. So that's pretty sweet. There's just a lot of volume. Sometimes when a company also files bankruptcy, sometimes it gets bought out. So there is a chance maybe it could go back up, but we'll see. I mean, Hertz is a pretty big company. I don't see this one just disappearing for good. I could see it more being like someone's going to pick up the pieces very cheap. That's also true, Corey. It's also just more day trading and not investing. But I think Heiko probably got that part a little bit. I don't know. It's always good to kind of like take a step back and think about something, even if it's, you know, obvious. Like I always like to remind myself, or sometimes I'll watch a video on like the most basic fundamental trading pattern or something like that, and I'm like, okay, yeah, that's why. It's always good to take a step back. LK is looking pretty interesting. We're making a little bit of a pennant pattern right here. This could break out. I really don't like trading these. I always find they always go to the downside on me. Interesting move. Let's see how this one breaks out. Could be a bull flag. I don't know. Looks like more of a pennant to me. I'm not going to be trading it. But it could be a great move. We definitely have a lot of buyers coming in on this one. I'm watching GRNQ. I would love to buy GRNQ. Kind of held this area again above 1.5. I see Mark being called out. Oh, a lot of sellers popped up on LK. A lot of sellers. Okay, here you can see that our scanner finally populated. Mark's not the worst. I'm not the biggest fan on how slow it's moving. Lead gapper on the day, then HTZ in terms of dollar volume and small caps. I can't believe Hertz is a small cap. It's still kind of wrapping my mind around that. I feel like I grew up, you know, with Hertz right next to Avis, picking up the rental car, the airport, God knows on what trip. It's weird, you know, seeing that company file for bankruptcy. So ESEA, it was good that we took our profits very quickly. This was a very quick trade. I kind of wish I got it on the entry on the video, but we were watching GRNQ, so didn't get that one. I think I'm gonna put ESEA back on my other chart. I liked how this one is maybe gonna be finding some support here near 3.3. So I think watching this one closely is just generally gonna be something I want to do. Wow, guys, SFET, this is the one we were looking at pre-market. We even said, you know, 1.4 could be a bit of a reversal spot. So boom, boom. I'm not sure if I'm interested in any more besides that potential reversal. I also think with like HTZ, a lot of people that are trading it, I probably don't even know why they're trading it. They're just like, this company's down so much, it's got to bounce. And that might be their whole thesis. But yeah, definitely an interesting question. Like, keep them coming. Those are the good questions that are really nice. So it's 9:49. Kind of a fun morning, especially with the Hertz. Opened up, now back at 1.08. Wouldn't be surprised if it kept selling off, but I mean, the fact that Hertz is up almost 100% today is kind of crazy, huh? I'm keeping a close eye on GRNQ. I think we might see somewhat of a move on this one. Corey, yeah, probably true as well. Although I feel like that statistic isn't very nice towards the trading industry in terms of, I think 90% of people that try anything fail because most people don't stick with something long enough. You know, like what's the success rate with like medical school or really anything, you know? Or like if you want to be, you know, a professional painter or something like that, you just got to stick with it long enough. And I think over time you'll make it. ESEA pulling back again here. Got my eye on it. Remember, ESEA gapped up 40% pre-market, 2 million float. So it's one of the smaller floats, which means it might be the most volatile. Big breakout potential. Greece Maritime shipping company. They beat earnings estimates. Here they go. Could be breaking back above that EMA. Some green volume coming in for the first time. GRNQ, bit of a disappointment on this one. I don't like that it's pulling off. Honestly, it might be dead. I don't know. It's hard to say. MARK Lead mover, I don't like the fact that the percentages are just kind of weak on it. I'm going to put ESEA here and put GRNQ off the chart. GRNQ. Whoo! This is the move I was waiting for. I didn't think we would get it so fast. Yep, Corey David. Totally agree. 375 and good points. LK rumor buyout by Yum China according to Fool. Motley Fool. Always interesting articles. ESEA 375 would be a really nice entry. I don't think we're going to get such a pullback though. Big volume, guys, on this one. This could have a flash pullback. I wouldn't be surprised. It's moving quite fast. The rate of change on this one's huge. Put a low limit order on this one. Not sure if we're going to get it, but ESEA, I like this potential trend reversal here. Could be breaking past VWAP right now. Big volume came back on this one. That was a 17% move. Basically broke our alert and then instantly ripped to the upside. Kind of missed that. Still watching GRNQ pulled back so much. ESEA. Could be seeing an entry right here. So 82. Wow, we missed that entry by literally a hair. All right, who in the group front run me? I like what we're seeing on this one, 89. Third place right now in lead gappers. Kind of honestly the first place if you don't count Mark and Hertz, which are a bit weird and unusual. Gappers. Big spreads on this. Still trending below VWAP, but that attempt to get back above, this could be nice. We could be breaking right now. It's 955, 399, 4. Just realized I had the wrong position size ready to go on this one. What happened, Corey? Why are you saying sorry? $4. I really think this is going to break out here. 4, boom, breaking out right now. See if we can get an entry back on 4. It's too conservative on this. I missed that one. I wanted to buy this dip right here. That would have been such a sweet trade. That would have been probably one of my better trades. Kind of annoyed I missed that one. I could still be getting in on this. I think we're going to have a nice break here at 420. Yeah. Here we go. I want this to break out just so I know that I'm looking at the right stuff. A little disappointing that I missed this one, 414. A little bit choppy of a breakout, but it's still going. 409. Corey's in. Good luck. 411, 410. Oh, so, that's why. Got it. The front running. 416. Whoo! This is making me all nervous. Here we go. 419. Let's see this thing crack 420. I like the buying volume behind this one. I think a lot of people are going to be looking at this ticker. 421, boom, breaking it now. Boom, nice. Really sweet. That one, kicking myself in the butt I didn't get this one. That pullback was perfect. I should have been a little bit more aggressive on it. Hit 430, yep. Sweet move. Right on as we make a higher on this one, 402. I should have got aggressive on that one. Would have, whatever. Let's just keep focusing here. So ESEA, we got a ticker back in action. It's good to see that. Let's see how this one kind of unfolds. GRNQ is still pulling back, really not. Maybe it's going to find some bigger support at 1.25 or something like that, but I'm not really looking at it. Nice trade, guys. Bitcoin's up 4% today. I gotta say, somehow I keep waiting for a big like 10-20% red day on Bitcoin because it's near some huge resistance, but it hasn't happened yet. $9.59. It's almost 10 o'clock. Yes, EA is definitely a bit of a choppy one, huh? I was also expecting a bit bigger of a breakout from the VWAP, something in the maybe 440s, 450s. I'd be a little bit nervous for a flash pullback on ESEA, especially if it doesn't crack here. I want to see this crack, otherwise, I don't know. Here we go, 430, 432. Whoo! Just shaky though, shaky. I'd be trading this breakout very horribly if I was in it. I'm gonna increase my potential position size if I buy under $4, since my first trade was very, very small. Hertz is at 105, but it's not moving. Pull back again. Gotta take your profits quickly on these. All right, Corey, man. Happy to have you here. Always good seeing you. ESEA is going to break back above 4. I'm a little bit nervous, and I'll tell you why. Because this volume on the bounce right here, this green volume, is very low. The minute's almost over. I'm not really convinced that this is the end of the pullback. We'll see what happens. But at the moment, a little bit skeptical here. Honestly, trading Hertz is almost more interesting. I just don't like to trade these companies like after some sort of crazy direct public offering, or even Hertz. But I think that's a bias that's not actually super warranted. I'm not sure why I have such trauma with that. So I gotta maybe do a little bit of self-reflection, because this was probably the best red to green move of the day. We had pretty wicked pullback here. 15%, but once we were back above VWAP, this thing just absolutely exploded. You could have made a killer off of this one. Got halted, consolidated, ripped again, then got halted here and had a quick pullback, and then it's kind of been choppy ever since. But it kind of on the 5-minute chart, I gotta say, it looks like a potential good setup here. I'm not really sure how far Hertz can go, but sure is entertaining to watch. Back to ESEA. So we had a little bit of a pullback, had that bounce, but it was a 3-4% bounce. Ooh, I'd be very careful. Here we go, 85 getting chipped away. Okay, some buyers came back in right away, but I don't think this is the end. Keep watching GRNQ, and I have found nothing interesting about it. Such a disappointment, I gotta say. PRTY Party City. Isn't that department store? What is this thing doing all the way down here? 100 million market cap, a lot of shares outstanding, 94 million. Dollar volume on the day, fairly light for a company like this. It's on its second green day. Man, this thing has not had the best streak. Big gap down here. Pull back to 1.9. Another gap down area here. We're right in that gap down area, 104 roughly. Wouldn't feel super comfortable trading this one, but maybe we could see some more upside on this. Yeah, 104 seemed quite critical. We ran up to this area, pulled back, broke out again. I mean, this one right now is trending to the upside. PRTY. Not too shabby. Not too shabby at all. Sub dollar. Come on, market. Give me something I can sink my teeth into. SMRT. What is that? Where did we go? There was just an update here. Bit of a bull flag on this one. Resistance at 0.6. Steinmart. Is this the one you hear the commercial about all the time? Steinmart? Yeah, I think it is. I don't even remember what they sell. It's been so long since I've been to one. BLIN, just got some good news from Matthew. Let's see, BLIN. ESEA holding its spot, guys. This one could have a second attempt here. Would not be surprised. A little bit low volume, but last time that volume creeped in real quick. So let's see. Maybe we'll get another one of those moves. $185 right now. There's kind of a big resistance area right here below $2. Recent gapper, above 180-day moving average though. Top pharmacy chain chooses bridge line. It's corporate intranet. Top pharmacy chooses. What's an intranet? Corporate intranet. Corporate intranet. Intranet. Corporate intranet is a network only available to employees of a particular company. So it's like an internet, but it's intra, so inside the company, usually communications and collaboration systems. Okay. Intranet. Yeah, Dan, thanks. How have I never heard of that before? I've actually never had a real job, so I guess maybe that's why. My brother and I use Telegram. I guess that's our corporate intranet. Although it's not exclusive to our company. BLIN does look kind of interesting. That's big news. Kind of choppy in this area. I'd probably rather buy BLIN on some sort of pullback. I don't see it randomly dipping so hard. Here we go. ESEA trying again to pull to the upside. Remember, the gap and go was more or less done. What we're going to be looking for now is some sort of reversals, maybe some trends to the upside. HTZ on the move. Yeah, it is at 1.25. Those tickers are just way more interesting today than BLIN, although BLIN has technically a pretty decent catalyst. %30 on HTZ since we were looking at it. So we were looking at it in this area, was starting to have a little bit of a pullback here, just ripped and exploded. Well, 18%, 30% was this whole move, my bad. Yeah, huge, 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 huge. Daily chart down here, bottom right. Will be interesting to kind of see where this one has a top. 1.5 is the high of yesterday, so it could be interesting. I wouldn't be surprised if we got inside of that candle or, you know, near the top. That would mean yesterday would be an engulfing candle. Mark is moving a little bit. GRNQ looks to be somewhat back in the game here, just a little bit, but the selling momentum's quite strong on it. Kind of a little 11% move off the bottom. I'm going to put alert if GRNQ starts trying to break above 1.5. Could happen soon here. Trading HTZ today would have been the most promising thing, surprisingly. Yeah, a little bit, Dan. For sure. I totally feel you on that, and I think you're right. And I'm watching it on my other screen right here, and it's not that I don't want to trade it. I just sometimes these things. It's hard to say with a bankruptcy stock. I haven't traded a bankruptcy in quite a long time, but basically with the direct public offerings, we'll see the same thing. And then at one point, it'll get halted going down or something else, and sometimes you see basically just the volume dry up totally. You just don't know how high it's going to go before that happens. But I would say if we hit 1.5, I would be very cautious. I would definitely be taking profits. And if everyone's thinking that, then that could be the point. It does the reversal. But for now, I'm sitting on the sideline and I'm missing out on a lot of profits with Hertz. So there's that. ESEA pulling back again here. Finally hitting that 375 I was waiting for. But I'm not totally convinced. I bet you're not the only one. Maybe a good time to do a little bit of front running, but yeah, I like it. I think that's a good setup. You could also just start taking profits along the way. A key kind of checkpoint, selling into strength is much nicer than having to be flushed out at one point. SFET. Oh man, Hertz is just absolutely running. It's like painful to look at if you're not in on it. Surprised SFET is still going. I don't like the fact that it showed such weakness in the beginning. It also had several other green days or just gap days, spike days, where it wasn't even able to hold the highs very long, which could be a big telling of what's going to happen today. Probably just so many back holders on SFET, so I'm not too interested in it. Rate of change is kind of interesting though to want to day trade it. But yeah, thanks, Dan. I appreciate that. So I only did one trade today, kind of a low trading day for me. I also used tiny position size. So yeah, it was a green trade, but you know, it's usually that second and third trade that make a bigger difference in the overall daily P&L. So let's see if we can snag another one. If I don't snag another one on this stream, like yesterday, you know, I'll give it some time. I'll, you know, take a little break, and then if I see something starting to trend to the upside or maybe find a bottom, then I would probably look to get a bit more aggressive on that. Hertz is at 1.48. Wow, 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 wow. Did it just get halted? No. Yes. No. Huge, huge. Uh-oh, shooting star candle, guys. That's a bearish sign. Biggest volume as well on the day was on that candle. Not always what you want to be seeing. 1.5, big psychological area as well. $half range. High of yesterday as well. I'm so surprised this didn't dip even faster than that. Uh-oh. If 137 cracks, who knows what the next area is going to be? Maybe 1.3. We ran all the way to 149, I think, even 149, yeah. Two big sell candles in terms of volume. Super, super nice run, guys, on this one. See OAS being called out. Is that on the scanner by any chance? No, it doesn't look like it. Petrol company. I typically don't trade these oil companies too much unless there's very specific news on. There's no catalyst on this one. Kind of like what I'm seeing here on OAS. 55 could be a bit of a bounce zone. 60 instantly. ESEA is definitely trending below VWAP. It's not looking too hot. Oh, we actually had a pretty long discussion about airline, or not long, but a decent little conversation about airlines yesterday. I think there's going to be definitely some nice ones that survive, but I wouldn't be surprised if we saw a few totally capitulate, throw in the towel. Wow, wow, wow. Hertz is really trying again. Kind of like what we're having with the, car rental cars, Some are going to file bankruptcy like Hertz, and others are going to thrive, maybe buy out the other businesses. There's definitely going to be consolidation, but airlines probably going to go back to how they were at one point. I also think there's huge bounce potential. I wouldn't mind throwing some. I have no airlines in my IRA yet, and I think I'll probably be looking into that just a little bit. So we had a really nice double bottom at ESEA here. So far, 3% up, almost 4%. Close to that 50-minute EMA. PRT doing quite well. Let's quickly check this one again. I haven't really found a secondary trade that I've been super excited about. This one, yeah, this was actually quite a nice dip here. The only problem I have with PRTY is the fact that kind of perfect move on it doesn't yield you that much profit. Actually, this one's pretty nice, 15%. But, buying this dip, you would have had to sell at the perfect top to make, 6-7%. It's tough. It's tough. But not too bad. Not too bad at all. No specific catalyst. GRNQ had a nice little bounce, 12%. Found some resistance though at 1.5. I don't see this thing really breaking past above 1.5, but we'll see. Nice soccer skills. That's super nice. AXIM, news of expanding. See what we can find on this one, this little puppy. Dude, if Hertz breaks 1.5, my mind's gonna be blown. Man, this company ran from like 15 cents to 70 cents in the last 3 days. Definitely has a catalyst. So I'm sure there's a compliance letter in here that they need to, oh no, they're OTC. Whoa, I actually haven't seen an OTC in quite some time. I don't know where they're always hiding. I think NASDAQ acquired all the OTCs basically. It's very loosely traded. It's the only big problem with this one. Going down the list on what are scanners popping up, we got Hertz, we got MARK, which hasn't really been my favorite because it just moves a little bit slower, so it's hard to snag, you know, a 10-20% profit on this one. Although it had a pretty solid move out of the gates after it sold off a little bit, but even the, you know, big move there is only 8-9%, so it's kind of what I mean by just moving slow. ESEA, is mind-blowing how much this one's been pulling back. Really had this nice 15-minute breakout and then the pullback. This would have been that trade. That was a 12% trade in 1, 2, 3, 4 candles. That was kind of the one I wanted as my second trade. Kind of snoozed a little bit on that. Definitely disappointing. Hertz pulling back, guys. Phew. Is this the end of the run? Or is it just a dip along the way? Yeah, SFET slow, but again, had beautiful morning bounce. Trading SFET out of the gates, you know, this was my second lead gapper. I probably should have gave it a little bit more credit with a potential red degree move, especially holding that 135. Could have been nice. Could have been really, really nice. GRNQ, I'm kind of finding less and less interesting. PRTY. I don't know. It's hard for me to really take this one too seriously. Hertz breaking 136, 135 now. Definitely an interesting stock. Hmm. $13% pullback so far on Hertz. No, I don't use margin gold tank, but I will once we complete the $25,000 challenge. I'll move this into a margin account, and then we'll probably incorporate a few short setups as well into our arsenal. This is the pullback I was kind of nervous about, and then yeah, we'll have unlimited trading. It'll be super, super nice, but for now, we're doing the super slow and steady way to get there. It's going. It's been a slow month for me. Woo! Man, this thing's bouncing all over the place. Guys, I'm officially out of coffee. It's time to switch to something a little harder. Look at that bounce on Hertz. TIE. I love how you say that. That's so true. 100% true. It's a good little reminder to everyone, especially the new people. This is a gap and go strategy. A lot of the small caps that we're trading, I would probably say 95% only gap for one day, and then they go back to Neverland. Usually by 11 o'clock, we're totally done trading these, and oftentimes you see after 11 o'clock, they all sell off the same way. Just check out our former gappers. They're almost always all red because they'll just constantly sell off. Sometimes though, former gappers, they run again and they have some really nice moves. So let's quickly check out a few of them. We have DFFN from yesterday. This one's actually been on a multi-day run so far. So this one's a little bit defiant from what I would say is the standard on these. But yeah, here's kind of your classic example. You know, big lead gapper the day before, starts selling off pre-market, and this is what I don't like to see. I don't want to see stocks selling off more than 30% if it's going to be our gap and go. Had a little bit of a double bottom here at 1.3. That's actually quite nice. But this whole move is only 14%, so it never really was that interesting. And then just sells off the rest of the day. I'm also never holding overnight. Here's another example, CLRB, big gap in the morning. This is oftentimes, you know, again, why I say I don't look at stocks that are trending below VWAP, trending below the 50-minute EMA. For it to be a nice gap and go, we want to see one leg to the upside. We want to see consolidation, and then ideally looking for that second leg to the upside when the market opens. That's what we're looking for. And then after that, oftentimes the stock is done. Sometimes it'll keep going for 2, 3, 4, 5 days. It's not always the case though. Check out XPSA, multi-day run. Yeah, that's a former gapper as well. Here it is. Hurts. It's still hurting after this bounce here. Maybe we'll see a little bit 115, maybe area act as a bit more support. I wouldn't mind trading this one again. I probably would. Or not again, but getting interested in trading it. Wow, XSPA falling off a cliff right now. Was there some news about this one just now? Nope. 0.8 is big support. It's not really a hot traded one today, so this candle isn't the biggest mover. I could already see myself trading ESEA at one point today. I got an alert if we break to the downside. I'm going to put an alert here if we start breaking to the upside, although I'm more interested to see this one, find some maybe support around the whole $1.03, a little lower. Right now we have the 180-day moving average kind of coming in here below it. John Bird. Afria. We haven't been seeing as many direct public offerings lately as in the past, which is kind of nice, but always when you least expect it, you get whacked with one of those DPOs. So just keep that in mind when trading a little bit later in the day. So these small caps love selling shares into the market, which absolutely destroy the stock price. Biggest percent gain in a stock, over 100%, but those are my swing trades. I think on my trade journal, I still need to be able to filter for the gap and go challenge. So I can't really be 100% certain on this one. Pulled back again, ESEA. So yeah, I recently had a AMC trade that was pretty okay. So that largest trade was 154%. That was my AMC trade. Triple bottom and then bounced up. We held it for a couple days. But I need to be able to filter this for the Gap and Go challenge so we can see the stats on the challenge account. That's really what I'm waiting for this to have a little bit of an update. That should be happening within the next month. So basically, if you go to trades, you can kind of see what that looks like. Computer's a little slow right now. So you can filter trades. Well, my computer is like real struggling right now. So yeah, I want to be able to filter for only the small account $25,000 challenge, and then it'll update my stats. So in the future, that's how it's going to work, and then I'll be a little bit more interesting. Oh, actually, I think we're going to be using this site quite a bit. ESEA is getting more and more interesting. I do think it's finding some bit of support in this area. But I'm not going to rush into this. I'm not sure when we're going to be trading it, but I feel like at one point we might today. I'll probably wrap up here pretty soon. Gap and Go is more or less over. So like I said, if I'm going to do any more trades today, I'll obviously talk about it. It will still be documented in my Gap and Go $25,000 challenge, small account challenge, because I would be trading in this account. And this account right now is only on the challenge. So I should probably rename this to challenge account. So any trades I do make in this account go into that challenge, but it's primarily focused on the Gap and Go. But yeah, if I do any trades later, I'm going to be looking for primarily support lines, longer term multi-month support and resistance, just like ESEA. If you scroll in here, you can see right here, $3. We have many tops and bottoms in this area. It's a whole dollar as well. So, maybe if $3 cracks a little bit, not too many sellers, I would look for maybe a reversal in that area or something like that. But I could see ESEA kind of selling off all day. I'm not sure, because a lot of the spikes we've had with ESEA are very short-lived. So I'm not too optimistic about ESEA. We had this one, which held its highs a little bit. A lot of reverse splits on this one. I don't know. I'm not too ecstatic on ESEA. Long term, they're only going in one direction. That's to the downside. So brutal stuff. Also in the future, you guys are going to be able to filter or search Trade Journal for all the challenge trades, so you guys can check them out yourself, which I think will help anyone that is looking for a specific maybe pattern or just study a specific pattern. They can, for example, go to all of my breakout trades and review all of my breakout trades. I think that's what I do in my free time, is just constantly review past trades of myself and other traders. I find that very nice. There's also pictures of all my trades. It's a good question, Dan. I was kind of thinking the same thing. Like, what would I like to see Hertz do for me to jump on it? I think $1 is some pretty big support and resistance. Let's go back a little bit and see what $1 did last time. Whew, this thing's skipping all over the place. Hertz pulling back right now, actually. So last time we had this big dip to 0.4. ESEA pulling back as well. We bounced. First big resistance was, actually we ran right through $1, I think. Yeah, that was kind of blew through $1. We found support at $1. Didn't hold very long, and then we kept pulling back. I think if I traded Hertz today, we definitely had a clear breakout here. We had some resistance here. We tried to break out multiple times at about 0.9 0.93, and then we finally did it. So I think 0.93 could be an interesting area. Obviously, a dollar is going to be an interesting area. 1.1, I think, could also be a good pivot zone. So if we dip below VWAP for just a little bit, maybe we'll have, 11% bounce under that. It's kind of tough to say. And I do think Hertz might really dry up the volume soon. So if the volume totally disappears as well, another red flag to maybe not want to trade it. Dan's ready to go. Limit order at 103. That's exciting. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if there was at least a little bounce. I mean, definitely take your profits, and who knows what's going to happen tomorrow, but there's always that chance that, test $1, bounces off of that, clean 10%, close the trade, and then continuation. I mean, then it doesn't matter what happens after that. But I just don't really know. ESEA, gotta say, this one is kind of interesting. 6% bounce on that little candle. Beautiful. I think that's my favorite part about ESEA today, is just the fact, actually it was more 5%, is the fact that it was moving so quickly. So you can make a nice chunk of change, if you have a nice dip buy or something. Like if our dip buy was more conservative here, this would have been 14% in like 30 seconds. That would have been insane. Hertz is still pulling back, volume even picking up. Remember guys, if you like the content, don't forget to drop a like. I definitely appreciate all the likes. Makes me feel all warm and fuzzy inside. And if you're totally new here, we come out with a recap video after this, and then tomorrow we trade the market open again, starting at 9:15 to review the watch list. So definitely consider subscribing and hitting that bell icon so you get notified of upcoming videos like the recap and the streams. Soccer Skills is wondering, how much capital do I usually trade with daily? It's a good question. For the challenge account, I obviously like to allocate, split up my account a little bit. Right now we're at $6,000. I like to trade at least 3 times a day. So that means I use about $1,000 for my ideal allocation per trade. With my IRA account, $1,000 to $3,000. It really depends on the account, what I'm trying to do. If it's like my dividend portfolio, am I just holding this thing? Those could go, the higher the more, the higher the better. But right now for day trading, our cash account, we're doing about $1,000 position sizes on average. I want to be doing 5,000 really soon. But as we get to $25,000 in this account, then we're going to start doing about $5,000 per trade size, which I think that at that point, things are going to get a little bit more interesting, because even if we have like a blow away day, which we do every now and then, like let's say, we grow the account 10, 15%, or not the account, but, have a 10, 15% day based on our average position size. It's nice. It grows the account very nicely. But in terms of like life-changing money, it's nowhere near. I mean, great, you made $150, it's like, I don't know, it's a few dinners, so it's not too interesting. But that's not really what the challenge is about. The challenge is about learning a skill, getting that foundation. So once you're trading with $5, $10, $20, $30,000, you're much more comfortable. So that's why I don't really care about getting there very quickly. I just care about getting there with confidence. Yeah, for sure, soccer skills. That's true. And whenever I'm on a red streak, or not red streak, but I'm just like, April has been, no, not April. May has been one of my choppier months, and that's why I decided to reduce my position size a little bit, just to kind of give myself more trades, so I can do 4 trades a day, for example, and that way no one trade affects me too much, and that allows me to kind of be a little bit more chill and get my confidence back if I'm on a choppy streak, which I have been a little bit. Ever since I had tonsillitis, I took a few days off because I couldn't even breathe, basically. I was like a walking skeleton. I lost like 10 pounds. And ever since then, I just have not had my groove back, which is a little bit annoying, but whatever. We'll get through it. Look at ESEA, guys. This one's constantly interesting. Can't keep my eyes off of it. Hertz had a really nice 11% bounce right off of VWAP, almost a perfect VWAP bounce example, which I feel like doesn't happen all the time, but maybe since, this one's traded fairly thickly, it's one of those setups that everyone's looking at. I almost feel like ESEA came out with some really bad news, because this one's really selling off so much. What the heck is going on? 325, some buyers there in that area. This could be a nice little bouncy wouncy. Not sure if it will be. All right, guys, I'm going to do my little mid-morning stretch session, kind of take a breather here, maybe crack a beer, just kidding. And then I'm going to get back to maybe late morning trading. I'm not totally sure yet. If I see the right setup, I will. Otherwise, I won't. It's nice to fully trade, get my 3 trades in for the day, or 4 trades in for the day. But if I don't, it's totally fine. It's all about the opportunities. Daniel, how do you do? What do you do and fall asleep on the desk? You got to set an alarm. I actually have an alarm for when I need to publish my watch list. Actually, that's, I think, the only one. I have several alarms on my phone based on like different work things that I do. I gotta say, that's kind of funny. I mean, I'm sorry, man, to hear that, but that is a funny little situation. GRNQ, I'm not too hot about. It's been selling off, and I wouldn't be surprised if it just keeps selling off, so no attention from me. Check out the volume. This is what I mean by drying up volume. This is like, sometimes you can't even get in and out of a position anymore because there's no one trading it. So just be careful with that. I think ESEA is even a little bit more interesting, but again, very light volume. Okay, fair enough, Danielle. 2 a.m. to get this through scanners. Fair enough, fair enough. All right, guys, I'm going to wrap up here. Thanks again for tuning in. Always a good time trading with you guys. I always learn something as well. Hope you guys learned something. Again, appreciate all the likes, so definitely drop a like if you enjoy the content. And I'll see you guys first thing tomorrow morning and this evening for the recap video. Like always, guys, stay safe, make some awesome trades. Ciao, ciao, guys.